Let me just ask my flatmates not to make noise. Please, where should I click? And it's already like. Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is me. I'll be presenting about Mozambique, as you already know. My name is Eunice Elvira Eugênio Mucavela. I guess my parents didn't know which name to give me, so they just decided to give me all the four. I was born in 1992 from Mozambique, from the capital city. And I'm coming from a traditional tribe called Shangan, Sicharangana. And I've grown out of Mozambique in South Africa, now in Italy, doing a master degree in marketing and digital communication. And I'm here to present to you where I come from, where people are made with colorful souls of resistance and identity born out of pain, fight, divine uncertainty, and glory, where smiles are implacable, contagious. It's really warm in there, but it's just the way our hearts are. So you're more than welcome to visit us. Okay, so where are we exactly? We are in the east part of Africa, facing north to Tanzania, northwest Malawi. Okay, we have an arrow. Okay, so we are here, right? Facing north to Tanzania, which is around here, and then northwest Malawi, which is here. South Africa, here, and east, the Indian Ocean, which has been designated as the Channel of Mozambique. Along the channel, we find Madagascar and Comoros, including the French possession of Mayotte. And as I told you, our capital is Maputo. Well, in terms of climate conditions, Mozambique has a tropical climate with 2 seasons, a wet season from October to March, and a dry season from April to September. We don't really have, it's not really cold, it's never really too cold there, that side. And the areas of Mozambique are 799,380 kilometers squares. And now we go to ethnicity, language, and religion in Mozambique. Well, Mozambique is home to about 29,670,000 individuals. A large number of ethnic communities like the Makua, it's the name of a tribe, Tsonga, Shop, and others that reside in the country. 99.66% of Mozambicans are native Africans. Europeans, Euro-Africans, and Indians constitute 0.06% and 2.0% and 0.08% of the country population. Portuguese is our official language. but it's spoken by only 10.7% of the population due to low levels of education. We speak about 43 languages. For that reason, we chose Portuguese to be the key one. Otherwise, nobody will be able to speak with no one. In terms of religion, 56.1 of the country are Christians. 17.9 represent the Islamic religion. 7.3 represent other religions, and 18.7 are the ones with no religion. Okay, so this is just to represent the different. Here on the left, we have Islamic, and in the far right down, we also have Islamic. Up, other religions, center, Christians, and here are the Zions. Zions, it's a traditional religion here. It's really popular. Okay. Okay. So, as a typical African child that Mozambique is, the country has been fighting and winning good fights. Mozambique has the eighth highest prevalence to HIV in the world, which is quite high. HIV prevalence among men and women aged from 15 to 49 years old. Okay. In terms of literacy, in Mozambique, adult illiteracy stand at 45%, and it's almost twice more common in women than men. It's more prevalent in rural areas where 57% of non-literate people live, compared to 23 in urban settings. Illiteracy has been a really significant has a really significant impact on the Mozambicans' lives, as it prevents us from accessing high-paying jobs as well as equal involvement in local communities and social and political discourse. So the government is coming up with different strategies with support from international organizations. And another problematic that we're facing right now is also child labor. About 152 million children from 5 to 17 years old are victims of child labor in Mozambique. In addition to that, we have another big problem right now in the southern area. I mean, in the African continent, in most countries, we're facing this problem, which is child marriage. In my country, in Mozambique, we have 48% of girls under the age of 18 who get married, and 14% before the age of 15. So generally, 1 in 2 girls get married. I feel privileged that I'm not. And right now, a lot of organizations from the civil society are actually working on building or designing a law to address this problem, because we don't really have a law in Mozambique that concerns this problem. Another social aspect is the gender inequality. Although the constitution of the nation grants equal to rights to women and men, in practice, the equality is hardly visible. This also has a lot to do with our culture, our African, our Mozambican culture, which sees men as superior compared to women. Okay, jumping to history. Those are our great grannies. The first people arriving in Mozambique, the people that made Mozambique who it is today. They were called sand hunters and gatherers, and basically their lives was more constituted by can I say agriculture and fishery, and not not more than that. Okay. Um, and then at the end of the 15th century, there is a Portuguese mercantile penetration, mainly the demand of gold, destined to the acquisition of Asian spices. So Portuguese, at first, they came to the island of Mozambique. And when they arrived here, they just wanted the gold. But when they saw that the land is good and that they could make money with slavery, they just decided to invade the country and stay for good. Initially, the Portuguese settled on the coast where they built a fortress of Sofala, of Mozambique. Um, see, sorry. Okay. So we fought the colonization from the 15th century until the 1975. That's when we won independence, which was led by Samora Moisés Machel, a communist. Okay. Yes, he was a communist. um, okay. The far right one is our current flag, but it wasn't our first. The far left one was not really the Mozambican's flag, it was Frelimo's flag, which Frelimo, it's an acronym that means Front for Mozambican Liberation, which is the leading political party of Mozambique. So they were using this far left flag. And then after they, okay, the second one, they just use it from 1974 to 1975. And then after the independence, just after that, they changed to the third one. Okay, they changed to the third one. In 1983, another design change occurred, which included horizontal stripes and an enlarged star, which is what we're seeing there in the third one. And then we came up with the last one. Okay, here's the last one. So everything, as for every country, everything has a meaning in the flags. Color black represents the African continent. The green color represents the richness of the soil. The yellow represents the country's mineral. The white stripes represent peace and justice. The AK weapon represents surveillance, defense, as I said, vigilance and defense. The hull represents the agriculture of Mozambique as according to our economic potential. That's what we mostly do. Most of the population live doing agriculture activities. And then the open book shows the importance of education. Before the independence, more or less 75% of the population was analphabet. But then after the independence, the number really changed for good. we went up to about 60% of literate people. The star represents Marxism and internationalism. Sorry. The red triangle, the isosceles triangle, represents centuries of resistance to colonialization and the struggle for independence. Okay, so after the independence, it wasn't really a walk in the park. On the left, we see this exotic flag. It's the flag of Renamo, which is the biggest opposition political party till the current moment. We had a civil war from 1977 to 1992. The leaders of both parties have signed an agreement of peace. Okay, so this is our president. He's been our president since 2014. His name is Felipe Jacinto Nyusi. Okay. And this is our currency. It's called Metical. Okay. Minute here. Okay. Okay. So after the independence, the gap of the difference of the way how developed our country is comparing to the south and to the north part is pretty significant. The south is by far better developed than the north part. There is an asymmetry to that. The country has been facing like huge challenges in terms of economy, especially now that we're facing a cyclone that just happened days ago. The cyclone called Idai. So it will really have an impact on the economy of the country, as well as the secret debts that the country has generated in 2016, I'm sorry. So right now, those are one of the biggest challenges that we have to overcome. Another challenge for the economy is to diversify away from the current focus on capital-intensive projects. I'm talking about private sectors. The private business in the country really face a lot of challenges for them to operate correctly, but freely also. Okay. This is a picture of the current situation in Mozambique, Idai cyclone. Okay. And there is also high rate of unemployed young people in the country. There is 66% of young people. 66% of population represent the young people in the population of Mozambique. So this is a really big problem that we are facing right now. Going to the strengths, in Mozambique, tourism has a friendly landscape. The agriculture is vast, as I mentioned before. There's abundant mineral, coal, and hydroelectric potential. Um, and there's a major gas reserves that were discovered a couple of years ago, which can be a curse or a blessing if we manage it, depending on how we're going to manage. Our hospitality, of course, our warmness and smiles are worth 100 digits dollars. So that should help us to get out of our crisis. Jumping to our Mozambican cuisine. On the left, what you're seeing, it's called masala. It's an African typical fruit. It's really delicious. If I could bring the tree with me to Italy, I would. It's a pity I can't, but it's okay. We'll see them during holidays. And the next picture is called feijoada. It's very popular for Portuguese speaking countries. It's really, really, really nice. It's made okay with beans. It's made with beans. You can, if you're vegetarian, it's fine. You can play with beans and veggies. If you a person that really loves meat like me, you can eat with any kind of meat actually, except fish. And then on the far right, it's prawns. That is one of our like specialities in our cuisine. Looking at our geographic situation, it's obvious that we should be good when it comes to cooking or preparing seafood. And then down to the left, there is this rounded white food that you see. This is called shima. It's really nice. It's something that can substitute rice. It's really consumed in Mozambique as well as in other neighbor countries like South Africa. In fact, KFC sells shima in South Africa. So it's a really, really, really typical dish here in Mozambique. You eat it with meat or with veggies, you choose. And then down to the center, we see this. Okay, for some people it might look ugly, but I actually get hungry when I see this picture because I know how delicious it is. It's called matapa and it's made with young cassava leaves. And you can add seafood with it, or if you're vegetarian, you can just remove just don't put the seafood. It's really healthy, highly nutritional, and delicious because you prepare it with the cassava leaves, with coconut milk and cashews, scrambled cashews. And then I put bread. It might look strange, but it's not. For those who have tried Mozambican bread, they know what I'm talking about. It's really, really nice. It's real bread made on real fire, and the smell, the taste is
I
just
guess
different.
Ukrainians know what you're
You
talking
know,
about.
right?
Definitely.
It's so nice. It's so nice. Oh, I'm getting hungry. Okay, now we're jumping to art. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Mozambique has limited written literature. It has a rich heritage of oral literature. Storytelling is an important tradition in the country. Like, I can say that from experience. I grew up with my grandparents, and one of the things that they would mostly do when we used to go to the bush or to the house which was out of town is to get all the grannies together in a cycle and then have fire in the middle and count stories till the night ends. It was really, really nice. That's the culture that we have here. So it's really important in our tradition. Written literature works began to be produced in Mozambique with the spread of formal education during the Portuguese colonial period. However, since most of the literature works created during this time were associated with the resistance to Portuguese colonialism, and that's actually true. My granny used to tell stories about what used to happen during the colonization because she was an assimilated as a black person. She couldn't have a job, but because she was a child of a king of a tribe in the place in the local, she had the privilege to be a nurse, which was something wow in that time. But and she would also tell me other stories about how people suffered, how we suffered, how she suffered, despite the fact that she was a nurse, she was still black. And yeah, so it was a really interesting, painful and interesting time. So we had many writers like Bernardo Hawana, which is the one on the left that you see. He's internationally known. And we have on the right a book that is really famous. It's written by an African European, it's a white African man, and his name is Mia Couto. And I invite everyone who's listening, who will listen to this video, to read one of his books because I mean he is a real artist. Okay, and this was the link for one. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will try. Okay. The music of Mozambique ranges from folk music to modern pop and rock. The music is used to serve many purposes, from pure entertainment to traditional and religious purposes. The marimba, a kind of a xylophone, and the lupembe, are also traditional instruments, and some other native Mozambican music instruments. The country also has different kinds of dances that vary from tribe to tribe. I really enjoy Shigubu, because shows it shows it expresses the resistance that people had here before, during, and after the colonization. And let me try to open. Okay, okay, cannot. Should I continue or let me see? Okay, yeah, let's try. Let's try. Let's try. No. They cannot see. Can they see this? Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I can just make it this way.
Oh, can I accelerate? No, it has 7 minutes. It has 7 minutes. So I'm sure
You can do what's for you.
Okay. Um, what can I do? Can I just close? Okay.
Presentation. Oops.
Okay. That was Shigubu, and this one. Let me see if I can open. Anyways, it's fine. Okay.
Let's maybe skip the video and
Yeah.
segments. Here.
Okay. Okay. That was Afro jazz. I'm sorry. Um. Okay. How can I see here? Okay. That was just to show it didn't work as we were expecting, but I just wanted to show a bit of what we do in terms of culture, dance, and singing. Um, but anyways, it's okay. So at last, but not least, this is just was just a brief, a really short brief, because there's still a lot about Mozambique that I would like to show, but time's not on my side. um, there are many reasons for you to visit Mozambique. Number one, it's affordable. It's one of the most beautiful places I can say in the world that is hidden, but whereby you will not spend as most places okay, as as yes, as I was saying, it's one of the most beautiful and affordable places. Our currency it's low, so I don't think it would be a problem. Um, not to anyone, but um, we it's actually affordable to be here. The number two reason is that it's safe comparing to most places. Um, the good thing about Mozambique, the good thing about Maputo City and other big cities of Mozambique is that there's always people walking in the streets. Midnight, 1 a.m. There are always people walking in the streets. And then the third one are the beaches. The islands are so beautiful. You should come and see that. Places where you can see the division of blue and green in the water. Um, the people are really nice. They will always be there to help you. They always try to speak your language, to understand you. They will do anything to help and to make you feel at home. Um, in Mozambique, um, what I wanted to show is that Mozambique is not just it's not just what most people show, which is just hunger, suffering, and and stuff. Um, we are actually active and we actually living life in other aspects pretty nicely. And yes, that's it. Welcome to
Then,
Mozambique.
guys, if you have any questions, you're very welcome to ask. And we will send the links for the video
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
And just wait 1 more minute if there are questions. And
Okay.
then we will finish.
Okay. Oh, can I add one more thing?
Tell us about sport.
I
You're going to tell about sport.
was going to speak about sports,
Yeah.
In terms of sports, okay, because I really prepared this one. I just cannot illustrate now because I didn't put in a presentation. But in Mozambique, football, as in most countries, is really popular and stuff. We have, I don't know, like for great fans of football, they should know Eusébio. Eusébio da Silva was a Portuguese player. He played like during the colonization times, and but um, he is not really Portuguese. He was born in Mozambique, so he's coming from Mozambique. And then, but I like focusing on other types of sports like hockey. We are really, really great in hockey. Yes, roller hockey. In the at the continental level, we are great at taekwondo, a martial art. We came back with 7 medals. It was a world championship. And also Lourdes Mutola was a great athlete. She represented Mozambique and she hit a record on the 1,000 meters. And she took 2 minutes and something. I cannot lie right now, but she hit the record because there was no woman who did that distance in 2 minutes, and that's something. And basketball. Yeah, that's it.
There are a few questions from Mariana.
Yes.
She asked, do you like football?
I like, yes. I am a I think I'm a tomboy because I'm so into sports. It's crazy. I like football, but right now I'm looking for a basketball team in Rome. But I like football. Like if they tell me that there is a crew of girls who play football, I would go and play with them.
And there is another question. Mariana asked you, say something in your mother language.
Um, Chile, Chile, which is what I said at the beginning, which means hola. And Canimambo. Canimambo means thank you. I was going to say in Portuguese. Obrigado is also my language, it's Portuguese, right? But in my mother tongue, my African language is, I would say, Canimambo, which is obrigada. And yeah, what else?
We don't have questions anymore.
Okay.
So we can finish.
All
Also,
right.
guys, if you have any more
Yes,
questions,
I'll be
we are always
available.
here.
I'll be available. You should come to Mozambique. It's so beautiful.
I will.